Whoa, buddy boy, buddy boy, buddy boy, buddy boy. Let's get into it, Patreons. Here's the other side, or the B side, that people didn't know about. Now, Run DMC was the biggest thing at the time when MC Hammer came out. Run DMC had Walked This Way with Aerosmith, and it was the biggest thing going in rap. Rap had crossed over to the rock market. Run DMC was the kings of rock. They had the largest #1 record going. They had brought Walk This Way back to prominence. And now, on top of that, they have just made history. They was able to pull off something, a feat nobody in the face of this world ever thought they could do. These guys actually brought in revenue with sponsorships, major sponsorships that only white folks and rock acts were getting. Run DMC was not looked at as rappers no more. They was looked at as rock stars. So Coca-Cola, who was headlining these tours, putting together the talent shows, they decide to give a sponsorship exclusively to Run DMC. Adidas follows suit. After the song My Adidas Made Them, their revenue shoot up tremendously on the streets. After the Michael Jordan shoe was crushing them, they said, we got to get a buzz. This is the first time anybody who wasn't basketball or sports related player had an endorsement deal. They gave an endorsement to a rap group. So anybody keep telling you Hammer sold out. Hammer sold out because he started getting all the endorsements. Run DMC had all the endorsements first. But Run DMC, they could rap. That was the difference. Hammer made entertaining songs and music. And he was dancing. Hell, we were always doing the Hammer dance. Nobody had a problem with Hammer until the rappers told you to. Now, there were major problems. And I mean like everywhere. Doggone squirrel scratching at my door like an idiot. About to get himself knocked out. Sorry about that. But with this endorsement battle that started to ensue, Hammer comes out of nowhere, and in his first music video, he's dissing Run DMC. On his album, he's dissing, he's calling out DJ Run, LL Cool J, Dougie Fresh, all the top rappers in the game. But he's trying to say, I'm up there with y'all. But that's a diss. Only because they wouldn't play him in the radio station. The guy, Sensational Steve, was the manager of one of the nightclubs in New York. So they had paid money. Hammer and his people paid money because they were doing a show out there. They was on tour, So they had some Hammer records out there pushing Hammer's, music. So they had paid the guy in the club to get it to the DJ. Like the DJ got the money to play the records. So he was like, yeah, if I get the money, I'll pay it. So Hammer was like, bet. That's what they were looking for. Somebody that played the records and there's no problems. So they played the records, put the records on, and said, all right, we're going to play the records and we're going to do this and that. Sensational Steve come over and said, what's this? MC Hammer. Who's this dude? I never heard of him. Where he from? Oh, he from Oakland. Man, he ain't from New York. I ain't playing him. So he's like, man, we don't play nothing we ain't never heard before. Up in this club, man, look, we got our set. We know what we doing. Like, did he give you your money? Dude already took the money. So he's like, man, give him back his money. Give him his record. And then he told him, man, keep the money, man. Keep the record. And he's like, you go listen to it. You tell me the club wouldn't want to hear. And it was Let's Get It Started on one side and Ring 'em on the other side. Let's Get It Started and Ring 'em. Ring 'em, oh, go Hammer, go. Go Hammer, go Hammer, ring 'em. So he had that. He had Let's Get It Started. Right on a two-side disc. Then he had Pump It Up come out. And while he was going through this whole process, they wouldn't play none of his records in the club in New York. One disco club played his record, and then another when they played like his song right before closing. They played it at like 2 a.m. They were getting ready to close the nightclub down, and they played his song. And they was like, man, everybody ready to go home, and you play this high energy record. What kind of DJ is this? Dude was like, look, I promised to play the record. So he was played at a disco club. Let me tell y'all how Hammer made it in the East Coast in New York. And this led to a very huge deal for him. He made it in the Midwest. This dude named Ken, who's his cousin to MC Hammer. Ken worked with my mother. They work for the federal government. Ken is basically like they're blood cousins. They even have, I think they got the last name, same last name, but they're cousins. So he would go to the concerts and see Hammer when he came into town. Whenever he came to Chicago, he would go see him. So now, when Hammer was coming out and doing his thing, and you know, positive message, and they gave him an interview here in Chicago at I want to say I don't think it was Doug Banks and the Dan right here, but I want to say it was the Beat. They gave Hammer an interview. Hammer crushed it. They didn't know how intelligent he was and all this. And he went to see him perform. He had a bus. He didn't have 50 dancers then. He had about the Old Town 357. Before his album even blew, he was already putting that group together. So that group was together. and they were dancing, and they had like four other dancers. So it was probably like seven of them on a bus, and they were doing their thing. And he had the two big MC with him, and they was making, man, they was just crushing it. So they crushed St. Louis and they crushed Chicago. Now, how they got it in New York was the fact that New York was so stubborn about playing their music. He didn't even have an album out yet. He was on tour. It was Hammer, Vanilla Ice, and a couple of other guys. And this is before they records even came out. They were performing the songs and going side by side. So Vanilla Ice and Hammer was all on the same like lot, like shows where everywhere they go, city to city. So Hammer didn't make. I mean, Vanilla Ice didn't make all the rounds. You know, Hammer was the one really traveling and making all these dates. That was one thing about Hammer. He wasn't going to miss the dates. So one of the disco guy's name is Daryl Bernstein or something like that. Uh, something like that. I think it's Bernstein. And he owned a club, disco club in New York. And the disco club guy wanted to play this MC Hammer record. And and it was a hit. It wasn't Let's Get It Started. I think it was Pump It Up. And that disco club played it and they loved it. So Bernstein put it in his club, played the record, said it sounds like a disco record. I'm gonna play it in my disco club. And he played it. And they loved it. They danced to Pump It Up. And he got them to play it on WLS radio station in New York, the Pump It Up record. And Pump It Up was like the coming out party of letting everybody know MC Hammer was coming. So Let's Get It Started was already out though. That was the record that they was pushing. But like Pump It Up was the song that was the first video, really. But Let's Get It Started was the one that was out there, like circulating with Bring It. You know, like Ringham was on there. So off that, you know, he ended up getting his album pressed and Turn His Mother Out was on there, and that ended up becoming another hit song for him. So when the album came out, all the other songs that they didn't have the budget to really do, they made remixes for him and made videos as popular as Hammer's concerts got. He got more dancers. They had like somebody making these clothes with the baggy pants, and he had all these dances. So his music videos were crazy, you know, with all his dancing, and you got the hype man just pumping him up, big too big MC. It worked. You know, it got over. They had the dance crowd. Which back then, Chicago, that's all they did was dance. So now you bringing in sponsorship money, and now Run DMC, you know, they the giants, so they're not worried about MC Hammer. And MC Hammer come out and sell like almost 3 million records off his first album without any support really from New York City. Then New York started to like Hammer. So this was going to be a growing problem. Now, Run DMC come out and do an interview and was like, dude can't even rap. This dude don't even rap. He's a good entertainer, but he can't rap. Like, you know, he got the dancers and everybody else. He got his homeboy singing all the lyrics, you know, so they was like, Hammer can't rap. And Run DMC, they be in Cali all the time. So, you know, Hammer's people, they was finna collide. You know, Jam Master Jay didn't care about that. And they knew some street dudes out there in Cali. They knew a bunch of guys, and they wasn't no real beef like that. It was just, yo, we want to talk. And Run DMC was coming off a movie. They just did Tougher Than Leather. Hammer goes out and comes out with the biggest rap album ever, like biggest selling rap album ever, with Please Hammer Don't Hurt. So whole 1990s was him when he came out crushing. He went international. He didn't need approval for nobody. So when he ran into the guys again, when he's selling damn near 10 million records, he ran into Run DMC and they had a conversation and he wanted to apologize to them. Like, oh, I want to apologize to y'all for it. He was like, no, man, you should apologize when you did it. Don't apologize now because you done sold 10 million records. Now you done sold all these records. Now you big. You don't want to mess up your boat. Now it's like, oh, I want to apologize. No, it's too late for that. You do you, we do us, and that's that. Now here's the major problem. Pepsi and Coca-Cola. Hammer is sponsored by Pepsi, right? And Coca-Cola sponsors Run DMC. So now they supposed to do this tour. Coca-Cola's like, oh, hell no, you ain't. Run DMC was like, we ain't finna get on there with Hammer. They was like, no, y'all finna get this kind of money. We gonna do this thing. They want to put together this Hammer and Run DMC. Like, y'all both put on shows. He was like, man, I'm not finna perform with him. I perform with other rappers. We deal with a rap show, not a dance show. Not, that's like more house music. That's not what we do here. So he's like, Run DMC ain't finna do that. And Hammer's like, man, I hope them guys sell, 20 million records. And then it was like, they like sour grapes and all that. When he went to the interview, they mad because I sold records. They like, no, ain't nobody mad because you sold some records. They mad because you came out dissing us in 2 of your videos. That's why they was upset. And they was like, dude, we don't even know you. You was a nobody. Just coming out dissing us for attention. Dissing LL and everything else. They're like, man, LL mopped the floor with you, Grammy. And that's why LL dissed him on to the break of dawn. So the whole thing of Hammer can't rap, Hammer can't rap, Hammer can't rap. He was starting to get upset about it. Because everybody was like, yeah, but he can't rap. That's why Run DMC decided, hey, we got to change our style. We got to get more hip. We can't be wearing the old, Dobbs hat no more. We could wear different hats and different styles. Jam Master Jay, he ain't got the low cut no more. He got a fro with a twist and some cuts, and now he's rapping. Run DMC was like in red, black, and green, and a whole different look. They cursing more on the records because that was what was popular. Everybody's getting more hardcore. So now Run DMC is cursing on the records. It's now going in a different direction. And they start making more dance friendly records like Pause and all the, and it just threw everybody for a loop. But that was Pepsi and all of them trying to, Coca Cola trying to do what Pepsi was doing with MC Hammer and putting on the tour. Like, we want to put on a Run DMC tour, but we want Run DMC to kind of get with this dance craze. We got to make some dance songs. So they made a party time song, and you hear Ron even say it in the thing, like, man, this is some bullshit. Man, this bullshit is some bullshit. It's party time. Everybody wanna party. Get up and do your body, cause it's party time. Man, that song was so fucking terrible. They were mad as hell about that. And it's like they want to cut MC Hammer out of the history of hip hop, and that's not fair to him, because he was rapping. Whether you liked it or not, people was buying the records, and they wanted to see Hammer dance. And I think he was a great representative of what this culture was. He was motivated by it. And they was like, man, he's a businessman rapping. So was Master P. Master P was a businessman and a hustler, and he was rapping. Birdman. He more of a businessman than a rapper, hustler. So it ain't like, okay, Hammer can't do it. Like what he did was a monstrosity. I've heard worse rappers than him in the game. So yeah, this became a trade war with Coca-Cola versus Pepsi. Coca-Cola was throwing money at Run-DMC. Pepsi was throwing it and making all this money off MC Hammer. Al Heyman was brokering these deals for Pepsi. He was the pitch man for Pepsi and I think Budweiser. So he put together the Jacksons tour with Don King. He facilitated the Jackson Five, well, the Jacksons, the Pepsi tour. So they were paying all the massive amount of millions. Run DMC got paid millions from Coca Cola just to compete with against MC Hammer. But MC Hammer became so big, and Run DMC was losing that sponsorship with them because they were absorbing all of Run DMC's energy, and Run DMC couldn't keep up. And Coca Cola ended up severing the deal because they were like, Run DMC is old now, they're dated. So Coca Cola was like, it's done. After that last album, they spent all that money, they got the party album they wanted. And believe me, that was the highest album they probably ever got paid to do. Like they made a shitload of money because Run DMC was supposed to contend with Hammer as far as sales and everything else, and they put all this money in marketing and got producers in there to make their music more polished, and they went away from rock and went more into this pop dance shit that didn't work. I know I own the record. Mistakenly, I got that record, but yeah, it was bad. Now, to say the least, I would say this: one of the things that was key in the factor is just like in the movie, one of Run DMC's guys in Tougher Than Leather, one of their roadies or whatever on the road, he did get he did I think he die? I don't know if he got shot or he got stabbed. One of their roadies got into it was a fight in the studio backstage with somebody and he got stabbed. They caught the guy, he went to jail or whatever, but it was a roadie on one of the tours. And I was doing the Tougher Than Leather era. And Run was so coked out of his mind at that time. He stayed in California, stayed in LA. Like he had Rolling Stone, he was hanging out with all the rock stars, doing the best of fucking lines he could find. He didn't give a shit about the band no more in the group. They reined him in when the money was like pouring in, and it was time to do another Run DMC album. They was paid through the fucking nose, so Hammer did make Coca Cola spend that fucking money, but after that, shit was over. I mean, shit was over. They didn't want nothing to do Like they had Adidas, they had Coca-Cola, Run-DMC had the world. Everybody wanted a piece of them. After that shit, when Hammer came out, blew up, Run-DMC was looked at as old haters. So they were like, we don't want to hear what they got to say. They old school. You know, rap is involved. They old school. And they was vintage. They didn't have to. They ain't even have to make another goddamn album. They could just tour off the hits they got. Because they knew how to perform live stage and shit. Rest in peace to Jam Master Jay. But Jay he was ready to kick shit off with Hammer. He was. He was like, dude, I feel like whooping his ass, man. You got somebody trying to humiliate us, stepping on our hats and shit. He was going too far. No, they would all put people on the bill. It'd be Run DMC, NWA, MC Hammer. They would try to throw everybody on a bill because they didn't have a lot of venues. I told you, but Hammer was so big, he started to have his own shit and put his own tour together. Where it'd be Oaktown 357, it'd be everybody from LA on the damn tour. But the Midwest is what got him cranking outside his own, outside of Oakland. The Midwest got him over. Down south, Midwest, that's what got Hammer over. Like Alabama, Georgia, Chicago, Memphis, Detroit, like the Michigan period. He had all those states, those like key states. And once he had those states, it was on. New York was just gonna have to be the last one to fall. Yeah, but the bidding war for Pepsi and Coca Cola kept the driving the prices up. They were in competition with each other over this Run DMC Hammer shit, and they kept coming up with more money in the budget and was giving it to people. Man, Hammer made so much money, like he made about 30, 40 million probably off of Pepsi alone. Run DMC was paid about 20 plus $1 million from Coca Cola. It was crazy how much money was coming in. I don't know how much they got, but I know Russ made out pretty good with Coca Cola. He probably told them, look, they're going to get y'all $1 million. Bet. We all getting $1 million? No, y'all all getting this much. This is in 87. I'm talking about collectively for the tours and everything else. They probably even cleared about 20 million altogether. That ain't bad. It's a hell of a run. So anyway, I'm out Patreon. It's your boy Carcino thanking you. And don't forget to hit the little heart button over there so I can know how many people like the video so we can make more content like this. I'm out.